Hi, I'm Paco, and you're watching Bad Witch Books. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over my March wrap-up. All the books I read in March. I read about 5 books, which is not as much as I did in February. But, you know, life is lifing. So we're going to go see Stats Paco. So if you see here, in the month of March, I read 5 books. 476 pages. My hour listened to were 666.28 hours. I acquired 6 books. I had 2 rereads, and I started 2 series, and 3 of them were diverse. I had 4 of them were audiobooks, and 1 was a mixture. And then I believe if I go down, so I am using the spreadsheet. I use it every year. I get her edition every year with Allie, I believe is her name. And I just get her yearly spreadsheets every year. I had 5 of the books I read were novels. And then for audience, 2 were adult, and 3 were YA. And then ratings, I had 2 4 stars, 1 4.5. And then 2 3.5 for the ratings. So yeah, that's Stats Paco. Okay, that was Stats Paco. Now it's time to go over the 5 books I read. Most of these were audiobooks, like I said, with Stats Paco. So the first book I have is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands by Heather Fawcett. This is book 2 of the Emily Wilde series. I read this for March because the prompt... No. I read this because I had a cozy prompt somewhere. But this first book is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairy, and that book is about Emily Wilde, and she's a scholar of fairy, and this is just a continuation of her adventures as she is trying to find portals. And I enjoyed this a lot. I really enjoyed the Emily Wilde books. This was a fun sequel. I do think I enjoyed book 1 a little bit more, but that's just because reading this took forever and it shouldn't have, but just life was lifing. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm giving this 4 stars. The next book I read was my first reread, and that was Carnival Fantastico by Angela Montoya. I reread this because the published version came out, so I was listening to the audiobook, and I had a book club for it. My YA book club that I go to attend read this book, and this book follows Esmeralda she works in this magical carnival as she is a fortune teller, and she is trying to get the #1 spot in this contest that's coming up, and the one person she has to turn to for help is the boy who broke her heart, and also the son of the father that she is, the son of the man that she is on the run from. And I really enjoyed this. This is just as good as reading it the first time. This book has a special place in my heart. Angela Montoya, special, great writer, and I really enjoyed the magic system, the way the world was, how vivid this world is, and I think the audiobook was really good. Both narrators were great. Okay, so next book I have is Shield of Sparrows by Devlin Perry. This I read for my book club that I host at A Seat at the Table. If you are in the Elk Grove area, A Seat at the Table is a bookstore where I run a romantasy book club, and this was our pick for March. And this follows our princess... What is her name? I forgot her name, but it didn't say in the synopsis it's first place. But this follows a princess. She is the firstborn, but she is not the favored. And she is not planning to get married to this guy that is supposed to marry her sister, but instead he chooses to marry her. It's this alliance thing, and her sister was trained to be a spy so that they can kind of take over. And now she has to do her sister's job, even though she has no training for it. She's completely unprepared, and kind of starts to fall for this bodyguard figure. I enjoyed this book. It did take me... I enjoyed the second half a lot more than the first half. I felt like one of my problems was that this book took a long time to get interesting. But once it got to the second half, and especially the ending, was really good. And I'm going to be continuing on with the series because of the ending. So I'm hoping that the second book doesn't have that much of a lag for me. But I thought this was really interesting. It like has a bunch of monsters that are like attacking the kingdom, which is really cool. And the love interest was all right. He wasn't like any more extra. I mean, like more toxic than an average romantic male lead is. And I am intrigued by some of the mysteries that were asked at the end of this book. But yeah, so I will be continuing on with the series. I gave this a 3. The next book I read was The Glittering Edge by Alyssa Valere. This is a fairy loot edition. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. And this follows 2 families, the DeLuca family and the Barians. They are these families that have been rival, that are like, have this long blood feud. The DeLucas are a family of witches that one of their ancestors cursed the Barian family, so that every person that a Barian member loves, like their loved one dies. And the DeLucas were then like stripped of their magic for it, so they have this like deep hatred for each other. And Penny, who falls in the middle, Penny, our main character, her mom falls in the middle of this stuff, and they're trying to break the curse. So that is the like synopsis. I thought this was really fun. This has really good CW vibes. I could see this book being turned into a CW show perfectly. If you're like a fan of Vampire Diaries, highly recommend this. They just have that like small town supernatural vibe to it that like CW would have ate this up. I really enjoyed this. The witchiness was fun. I'm interested in when the sequel comes out. I'm hoping we get a fairy loot edition of the sequel, but I really enjoyed this, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I was surprised on how I picked this. Even though this was on my TBR for March, I was like, it was like basically the last full week of March, and I needed to pick up a book, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to finish it, but let me try the audiobook, and I like powered through this in 2 days. So I really enjoyed this book. This might be my favorite read of the month, just because it's my favorite non-reread. I'll be clear on that. And I gave this 4 stars. The last book I finished in March was a reread, and that was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. Princess is rereading all of the Cassandra Clare books, so we're doing Clockwork Angel this month, the next 2 months, and then the next 2 months we're finishing that trilogy. And so yeah, and then we're continuing on with all of her books, trying to knock out a lot of her books this year. But this book follows Tessa, who has just moved to London. It is in the reign of Queen Victoria. Tessa has moved to London because her aunt has died, and she's going to her brother, where she's picked up by the Dark Sisters and kind of taken until she is saved by Will. That's all happens, like the first 2 chapters. She is saved by Will, who's a shadow hunter, Will Herondale. And she is taken to the Shadow Hunters for safety, and they try to solve the mystery of what happened and why the Grey Sisters took her. The Dark Sisters took her. I really enjoy this. I love this series so much. I love Will, Jem, Tessa, Charlotte, Henry. I love this world so much, and it was really good to just go back to it. I'm very excited to refinish this trilogy because the 3rd book is one of my favorite books. And I just love it. I just opening it and reading it. I like hybrid read this. I swapped from physical to audio, and just falling back into the world, I forget how much I love these characters. Like Tessa is one of my favorite fictional female heroines, and I forget that because I don't read this. I don't talk about it as much, I feel like, and I really enjoyed this. It's like a 4.5. Really good. So yeah, that is what I read in the month of March. What did you guys read? Comment down below. If you read any of these books, let me know. If you have nothing else to say, leave a green heart for March. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!